Imagine digging into the rocky soil near Beijing and unearthing a skull nearly 800,000 years old, a face frozen in time, not quite human, not quite ape. A being that walked upright, crafted tools, tamed fire, and then vanished into mystery. A creature that once roamed forests and steppes, whose bones whisper of forgotten worlds, of a chapter we almost lost. This is the story of Peking Man, a captivating piece in the puzzle of our evolution, hidden in shadowy caves, entangled in global conflict, and wrapped in a mystery deeper than time itself. Who was this ancient hominin? Was he our direct ancestor, a long-lost cousin, or an evolutionary dead end? What secrets lie buried in the ashes of his hearth, or etched into his chipped stone tools? And how did his remains, after surviving earthquakes, predators, and the passage of millennia, disappear without a trace during World War II? Today on 5 Minutes of Culture, we'll descend into the legendary caves of Zhoukoudian, explore the rise and reach of Homo erectus, and follow a true story of science and suspense, part archaeology, part thriller, part unsolved mystery. Because sometimes the bones we lose tell us as much as the ones we find. Let's step back in time. In the 1920s, near Beijing, Chinese laborers stumbled across something strange while mining limestone in the hills of Zhoukoudian. Fossilized bones, layers of ash, and primitive tools. By 1927, Canadian anatomist Davidson Black had identified one of the skull fragments as belonging to a new species, Sinanthropus pekinensis, later reclassified as Homo erectus. It was a sensational discovery. Peking Man wasn't just a missing link. He was a symbol of humanity's deep roots in Asia. Excavations revealed that Peking Man lived in the region between 700,000 and 200,000 years ago. Evidence even suggested an astonishing 500,000 years of continued or repeated occupation in the caves. This wasn't just a temporary shelter. The cave was a home, a tool workshop, a possible burial site, and perhaps even a place for ritual or communal gathering. Over the years, archaeologists have unearthed dozens of skulls and bone fragments, thousands of stone tools, and signs of controlled fire. Ash layers, burned bones, and charcoal deposits were found in deep strata, suggesting not a single fire, but countless ones, used repeatedly across generations. But just as scientists began piecing together the life and times of Peking Man, disaster struck. During World War II, the original fossils, nearly 40 individual remains, were packed for shipment to the U.S. But somewhere between the Peking Union Medical College and the port of Qinhuangdao, they vanished. No one has seen them since. Did they sink with a ship? Were they looted or hidden? Are they buried beneath modern streets or stashed in a private collection? No one knows. Their loss turned the story of Peking Man from a scientific triumph into one of archaeology's greatest cold cases. What did Peking Man look like? As a classic Homo erectus, he stood between 1.57 and 1.70 meters tall, weighed about 50 to 70 kilograms, and had a brain volume of around 1,000 cubic centimeters, 2/3 that of a modern human. His skull was thick and heavy, his brow ridges were prominent, and his forehead sloped back dramatically. His jaw was strong, teeth large, and he lacked a chin. But don't be fooled by the primitive features. This wasn't a beast, it was a survivor. His anatomy was adapted for endurance and resilience. His limb proportions allowed him to walk and possibly run long distances. His hands could grip tools, and his large teeth were suited to a tough, varied diet. What's more, the behavior inferred from the archaeological record suggests intelligence, foresight, and social cooperation. The stone tools he left behind, simple but effective, were made with intention. The repeated use of fire meant planning, and living in a cave community required coordination. This wasn't a solitary forager. This was a group of humans, or near humans, building the earliest version of society. Enjoying this ancient mystery? Hit that subscribe button. We dig up the past like no one else. Was Peking Man just an animal with clever hands, or was he the spark of something more, Thousands of stone tools, mostly core choppers, flakes, and scrapers, were found throughout the cave complex. These tools weren't as elegant as the later Acheulean hand axes, but they were functional. They cut meat, scraped hides, and cracked bones. Even more telling, the ash layers. Consistent fire use over time suggests that Peking man didn't just stumble upon flames. He knew how to maintain fire, possibly even how to start it. Imagine what that meant. Warmth in winter, protection from predators, cooked food, extended waking hours. Around the fire, communication may have evolved. Gestures becoming grunts, grunts becoming proto-language. Storytelling may have begun. Fire was more than a tool. It was the heart of a community. Some scientists even propose that the cave may have been a burial site, though that remains speculative. What's clear is that Peking man's world was more complex than we once imagined. So ask yourself, if we shared fire, tools, and social life, how different were we really? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing your theories. But here's the challenge. We've never recovered DNA from Peking man. The humid conditions, age of the fossils, and geological changes at Zhoukoudian made DNA preservation impossible. Unlike Neanderthals or Denisovans, whose genomes we've sequenced, Peking man remains a genetic ghost. So, how do we study him? Through anatomy. By comparing bone shapes, cranial features, and dental structures across hominins from Asia, Africa, and Europe, scientists reconstruct evolutionary relationships. Was Peking man the ancestor of modern East Asians? Some scholars argue yes. Others believe Homo erectus in China was part of a broader, more complex migration and evolution pattern. What we do know is that the story of human origins isn't linear. It's a tangled web. Evolution wasn't a straight march from primitive to advanced. It was trial, error, dead ends, and reinvention. And Peking man was one of the most resilient experiments in that web. Peking man left no writing, no art, no grand monuments. But he left behind a record of survival. He endured ice ages, predators, and scarcity. He innovated, adapted, and passed down knowledge in the only way early hominins could, through shared action, imitation, and fire. Zhoukoudian today is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and the legend of Peking man continues to inspire. He reminds us that before we had civilization, we had curiosity. Before we built towers, we chipped stone. And before we conquered nature, we sat around a fire and dreamed. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the deep past. If the ancient world sparks your imagination, hit that subscribe button. And tell us, what would you have asked Peking man if you met him? Until next time, I encourage you to stay curious. Because the past isn't behind us, it's buried beneath our feet, waiting to be uncovered.